My beloved child, there is a reason you are here at this exact moment. Out of all the voices you could have listened to today, you arrived here for this one. Do not treat that as a coincidence. Stay with me because something huge is waiting for you. Don't skip. Every sentence you hear is connected to the next, and by the end, the meaning behind today's message may feel completely different from what you expected. Close your eyes for just a moment and imagine a quiet dinner table. The room is calm. The conversation is gentle. There is no noise, no rush, no interruption. At first glance, it seems like an ordinary evening. Plates are placed on the table. Smiles are exchanged. Questions are asked. Laughter comes and goes. Everything appears completely normal. But what if the most ordinary conversations are the ones that quietly change the direction of a person's life? That is what today's message is about. The dinner conversation that could change everything is not about expensive meals or perfect words. It is about a single moment when hearts become honest, when hidden thoughts finally find a voice, and when one unexpected sentence opens a door that seemed impossible to unlock. Don't skip. Many people spend years waiting for dramatic signs while missing the gentle conversations that carry the greatest answers. Sometimes the biggest turning point does not arrive with loud announcements. It arrives through calm words spoken at exactly the right time. Picture yourself sitting at that table. You are listening carefully. Every person around you has their own story. Some speak with confidence. Others smile while quietly carrying questions they have never shared. One person pauses before speaking, almost as if deciding whether the truth should finally be revealed. That pause changes everything. There are moments in life when silence says more than words ever could. A single glance across the table can carry hope. A simple question can open a path no one expected. One sentence can become the beginning of a completely different chapter. Stay till the end. As this story unfolds, you may begin remembering conversations from your own life. Words you almost forgot. Small moments that seemed ordinary at the time but later proved unforgettable. Perhaps someone once encouraged you when you were ready to stop. Perhaps someone believed in you before you believed in yourself. Or perhaps you are still waiting for the conversation that will finally bring clarity. If that is you, keep listening. The remarkable thing about life is that answers often arrive when people stop chasing certainty and start paying attention. Not every important message comes through grand events. Sometimes it arrives while sharing a simple meal, while listening instead of speaking, while choosing patience instead of haste. Something huge is waiting for you. Imagine the conversation continuing. Someone across the table begins telling a story from years ago. At first, it sounds familiar. Then one unexpected detail changes everything. Suddenly everyone becomes quiet. Every eye is focused on the speaker. Every heartbeat seems slower. The atmosphere shifts without anyone noticing exactly when it happened. That is the power of truth. Truth does not need to shout. It quietly changes the room. Now imagine that the story being shared is not only about the past. It somehow points toward the future. It reminds everyone that opportunities often appear disguised as ordinary moments. It reminds everyone that kindness can travel farther than anyone realizes. It reminds everyone that today's small decision may become tomorrow's greatest blessing. Don't skip. The next part of this journey will reveal why this dinner conversation matters so deeply, why every word spoken around the table carries meaning, and why one unexpected realization has the power to transform the way someone sees their own path forever. Stay till the end, because this is only the beginning, and the most unforgettable part of the conversation has not even started yet. The table remained quiet for only a moment, but that moment felt longer than anyone expected. Every face carried a different emotion. Some were curious. Some were hopeful. Others sensed that something important was about to be spoken, even though no one could explain why. If you are still listening, you are exactly where you need to be. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then one person gently placed a hand on the table and smiled before saying, "Have you ever wondered how one simple conversation can change an entire future?" The room became completely still. No one interrupted. No one looked away. Every heart seemed ready to hear what would come next. The voice continued, "Most people believe life changes through extraordinary events, but they rarely notice that the greatest turning points begin with ordinary words. A dinner table is more than a place to eat. It is where dreams are spoken for the first time. It is where forgiveness begins. It is where hope quietly returns after being lost." Those words settled into every heart around the table. Don't skip. At that very moment, everyone realized they had been carrying thoughts they had never shared. They had been waiting for the perfect opportunity, but perhaps the perfect opportunity had been sitting right in front of them all along. The conversation became deeper. One person admitted they had almost given up on a lifelong dream because they believed no one cared anymore. Another confessed they had been waiting for the right moment to encourage someone they loved but kept postponing it. Someone else smiled and quietly said, "Sometimes one sentence arrives exactly when a person needs it most." The entire atmosphere changed. No one was rushing anymore. No one was distracted anymore. Every single word mattered. Stay till the end. Now imagine that you are sitting at that same table. You are hearing every word. You are watching every expression. Suddenly, one sentence feels as though it was spoken directly to you. What if the opportunity you have been waiting for is already moving toward you? The room became silent once again. No one expected that question. Everyone began thinking about their own journey. Some remembered chances they had ignored. Some remembered conversations they never finished. Others realized they had been searching everywhere except the place where the answer had always been waiting. Something huge is waiting for you. The speaker leaned forward and continued, "There are conversations that people forget within minutes. Then there are conversations that quietly remain in someone's heart for years. Today is not an ordinary conversation. Today is one of those moments that stays with you." Every eye remained fixed on the speaker. Every listener wanted to know what would happen next. Don't skip. Now another surprising thought entered the conversation. What if the most important person in your future is being prepared through simple moments happening today? Nobody expected those words. Suddenly, everyone understood that small moments are never truly small. A simple invitation. A simple greeting. A simple dinner. A simple conversation. Each one has the power to become unforgettable. That is why today's story matters. Not because of the meal. Not because of the room. But because of the words that are still unfolding. Stay till the end. The speaker smiled once again before saying, "Every person remembers the meal differently, but everyone remembers how they felt during the conversation." That sentence touched every heart. People often forget what was served on the table. They remember the hope they received. They remember the encouragement they heard. They remember the unexpected truth that changed the way they looked at tomorrow. Don't skip. What happened next surprised everyone. One guest quietly reached into a pocket and unfolded a small piece of paper that had been carried for years. No one knew what it contained. No one had ever seen it before. The room became completely silent. Every heartbeat seemed slower. Every eye focused on that single folded page. The guest smiled and said, "I promised myself I would only read these words when the right people were sitting around the table." Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Everyone waited. Something huge is waiting for you. The paper was opened very slowly. Every second felt important. Then the first sentence was read aloud. It spoke about believing before seeing. It spoke about remaining patient while answers were still forming. It spoke about trusting that today's quiet moments often become tomorrow's greatest memories. People around the table looked at one another with amazement. It felt as though those words had been written especially for that evening. Don't skip. If this message is reaching you now, perhaps you were also meant to hear these words. Perhaps your own life has been preparing for a conversation that will bring fresh hope. Perhaps someone close to you has been waiting for the right moment to speak honestly. Or perhaps you are the one who needs to begin that conversation. Whatever the reason, keep listening. Stay till the end. The story is moving toward a moment that no one at the table expected. The next few minutes will reveal why this dinner became unforgettable, why one final statement changed the atmosphere forever, and why everyone left the table carrying something far more valuable than they brought with them. Before we continue, if this story has already touched your heart, share it with someone who needs encouragement today. And if you are enjoying this journey, subscribe so you never miss the next chapter. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because the greatest revelation of the evening has not yet been spoken, and when it finally is, the meaning behind the entire dinner conversation will become clear in a way no one could have imagined. Just when everyone believed the most meaningful words had already been spoken, the atmosphere shifted once again. It was not because someone raised their voice. It was because one gentle question filled the entire room with curiosity. What if tonight is remembered not for what was served, but for what was finally understood? No one answered. No one needed to. Every person at the table felt that the evening was leading somewhere extraordinary. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The person holding the folded paper looked around the table with a peaceful smile and said, "Every seat here represents a different journey." Every person arrived carrying hopes, questions, and dreams that no one else could fully see. Yet somehow, all of those paths have crossed at this exact moment. Everyone became even more attentive. The conversation was no longer about dinner. It was about purpose. It was about timing. It was about the unexpected ways life brings people together. One guest quietly asked, "How do we know when an ordinary moment becomes an unforgettable one?" The answer came without hesitation. You never know while you are living it. You only realize it later, when you look back and discover that one conversation quietly changed everything. The room fell silent again. Those words stayed in every heart. Don't skip. Imagine sitting there yourself. You are listening to every sentence. You begin remembering conversations you almost forgot. A kind word that encouraged you. A smile that arrived at the perfect time. A simple invitation that opened an unexpected opportunity. Suddenly you realize something remarkable. Life is often transformed through moments that seem completely ordinary while they are happening. Stay till the end. The speaker continued. Most people search for extraordinary signs, but they overlook extraordinary conversations. They wait for life to announce its greatest moments with excitement, yet life often whispers its greatest gifts through calm voices around an ordinary table. Every listener leaned closer. Nobody wanted to miss a single word. Something huge is waiting for you. Then another guest spoke for the very first time. "I almost didn't come tonight." The entire table looked toward them. "If I had stayed home, I would have missed every word that has been shared here. I would have believed nothing had changed. But now I understand that simply showing up can become the beginning of something unforgettable." Those words touched everyone. Sometimes the greatest opportunity is simply being present. Don't skip. The conversation became even deeper. Someone asked, "What is the one thing every unforgettable conversation has in common?" The answer surprised everyone. It leaves people seeing tomorrow differently than they saw yesterday. The room became completely still. That single sentence carried more meaning than anyone expected. People were no longer thinking about the meal. They were thinking about possibility. Hope. Purpose. Fresh beginnings. Stay till the end. The speaker slowly stood and walked toward a nearby window. Looking outside, they smiled and said, "Every evening eventually becomes a memory." The question is not whether this night will be remembered. The question is why. Nobody could look away. Every heart wanted to know the answer. Then came another unforgettable sentence. The conversations you remember forever are the ones that remind you who you truly are. A deep silence filled the room. It was not an uncomfortable silence. It was the silence of people realizing something important together. Don't skip. At that exact moment, everyone understood that this dinner had never been about food. It had always been about connection. About encouragement. About discovering that one honest conversation can become the beginning of an entirely new chapter. Something huge is waiting for you. The speaker returned to the table and gently placed the folded paper in the center. There is still one final message. No one reached for it. Everyone waited. They wanted to hear every word exactly as it was meant to be spoken. The speaker smiled once more. This final message is not about the past. Everyone listened carefully. It is about what happens after everyone leaves this table. Every heart became even more curious. What could possibly come next? What message had been saved until the very end? Why had the entire evening been building toward this single moment? Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because the final words waiting inside that folded paper will reveal why this dinner conversation became the one story that every person at the table would continue telling for years to come, and the greatest revelation is only moments away. The final page was lifted from the center of the table with extraordinary care. No one interrupted. No one looked away. Every person understood that the next few moments would become the part of the evening they would remember for years. If you have stayed this far, don't skip now. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The speaker unfolded the page completely and smiled before reading the first line. The greatest conversations are never measured by how long they last. They are measured by how deeply they stay in the heart. The room became perfectly still. Those words did not feel ordinary. They felt timeless. Every guest looked at one another with a new understanding. They realized that tonight had never been about finding perfect answers. It had been about discovering the right questions. The speaker continued. Every person sitting here will leave through a different door. Every person will wake up tomorrow in a different place. Every person will continue a different journey. But one thing will remain the same. None of you will leave with the same heart you brought to this table. A quiet smile appeared on every face. Something had changed. Not because life around them had suddenly become different, but because their perspective had. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The speaker gently folded the paper again and asked one final question. When you think about this evening many years from now, what will you remember? No one answered immediately. One person finally spoke. I won't remember every sentence. Another smiled. I won't remember every detail. Then another guest quietly said, I will remember how this conversation made me believe that ordinary moments can become extraordinary memories. Everyone nodded. That was the answer. The true gift of the evening was never hidden inside the meal. It was hidden inside the conversations that invited people to see life differently. The speaker looked around the table one last time. Whenever life feels ordinary again, remember this evening. Remember that remarkable things often begin quietly. Remember that one honest conversation can inspire a lifetime of hope. Every heart held on to those words. Don't skip. There was one final surprise. The speaker reached beneath the table and placed a small wooden box in the center. No one had noticed it before. The box was simple. No decorations. No labels. Just quiet elegance. Curiosity filled the room. The lid was slowly opened. Inside was a mirror. Nothing more. Everyone looked confused. Then the speaker smiled. The greatest revelation of tonight was never hidden inside this box. A pause followed. It has been sitting around this table from the very beginning. Every guest looked at the mirror. Then they understood. The reflection reminded each person that they were part of the conversation that changed everything. The answers they were searching for had not been somewhere far away. They had been growing within them through every word, every pause, every moment of listening. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The speaker closed the box and stood. This dinner is ending. Everyone listened carefully. But the conversation does not end here. It continues every time you choose encouragement over doubt. It continues every time you truly listen. It continues every time you remind someone that hope can begin with a single sentence. The room filled with quiet gratitude. No applause. No celebration. Just a deep understanding that something unforgettable had taken place. As everyone prepared to leave, they looked back at the table one final time. It appeared exactly the same as when the evening began. The chairs had not changed. The plates had not changed. The room had not changed. But every person had. That was the real miracle of the evening. Not the setting. Not the timing. The conversation. The dinner conversation that could change everything had done exactly that, not by changing the world overnight, but by changing the hearts of those who were willing to listen. If this story stayed with you and made you think differently about the conversations in your own life, share it with someone who needs a reminder that meaningful moments often begin in ordinary places. And if you want to hear more stories like this, subscribe so you can be part of the next journey from the very beginning. Don't skip the conversations that matter. Stay till the end whenever life offers you a chance to truly listen. Because sometimes the most unforgettable chapter of your story begins with nothing more than a chair, a table, and one conversation that changes everything.